Identity theft has been increasing drastically, and Stephanie Olson joins us to tell us about a Weber State student whose identity was stolen. Stephanie?
Randall, Angie, identity theft is a scary crime. It happened to Melanie Simpson. A thief stole her purse and ended up stealing her life.
I filled an application for taco maker for the manager position under my name. They just kind of went around everywhere, and people kept calling me and saying that I had done things, and when I hadn't.
They ruin your credit, bounce your checks, and even get a job in your name.
Took my driver's license, my checkbook, pretty much all my money, and all my IDs. I had my whole wallet stolen.
Melanie Simpson is just one of the many people who have suffered identity theft.
I've been an investigator in the Major Crimes Bureau since '91, and it's as high now as it's ever been.
The Ogden City Police Department sees more and more check fraud every day.
The most common thing we see are check forgeries, where one person takes another person's check and fills it out completely and passes it or alters what was on there originally.
When accepting checks, make sure to pay attention to whom you're accepting it from.
On my checks and everything, she spelled my name wrong. Places that she had gone to actually fill out the checks, she put on the wrong driver's license number. If people actually looked for the driver's license number and stuck to that, that would have helped so much.
People routinely leave their checkbooks in their car while the car is parked overnight or parked unattended. And as easy as it is to pass checks, that should never happen. Those things should be on you.
Like Willas said, knowing where your checkbook is can be the best bet defense against check fraud. Don't leave it unattended for any period of time. Next week, we'll show you what to do in case check fraud and identity theft happens to you.
Can you tell us what exactly happened to Melanie?
Well, the case was dropped, and they didn't ever find the person, so she could be out there somewhere.
Thanks, Stephanie. It's Black History Month, and Weber State is hosting an art exhibit in one of the most prominent galleries here on campus. The Union Building Bridge is home to an art collection that features artwork from African American.
Still ahead on Weber State News, spring enrollment is up, way up.
For the first time ever, there are more spring semester students than fall. I'm Stephanie Olson.
And I'm Tamara Garner. We'll tell you what increased enrollment means to Weber State's campus.
In sports, we're brewing up a basketball stew. Men's basketball, women's basketball, basketball awards, and a pinch of hockey. I'm Andrew Larson. Stick around for a Wildcat treat coming up in sports.
And I'm Randall Bennett. You have to give out your personal information all the time. We'll tell you how to keep it secure.
It's a little more crowded on campus this semester. Student enrollment for spring semester is up. Chad Jemet is here to tell us more.
Yeah, student enrollment is up. In fact, spring semester is higher than ever. Because the economy is down, people aren't making as much money, so they return to school to increase their earning potential.
That's Chad.
Thank you.
Great story.
Yep.
As Chad mentioned, non-traditional students are to thank for most of the increased enrollment. Non-traditional students have unique demands. Tiffany Madison tells us about a program that meets those demands.
There are many students walking around campus, and not all of them are what people call traditional students. Weber State News.
Another service the program provides is a drop-in daycare to help out the non-traditional students.
Well, Weber State celebrates excellence again this spring with the annual Crystal Crest Awards. The award nominations are for 13 categories, including Man and Woman of the Year. Nominations for the award ceremony are available now online, and the ceremony itself will be on May 3rd.
Coming up next on Weber State News, from Broadway to ragtime, Black History Month celebrates African Americans' contribution to music and the stage.
And 2 Wildcat basketball players score awards, and the women's basketball team earns a top 50 ranking.
Stay with us. Weber State News will be right back. Social Security number so someone can look up your account on the computer, you use your credit card number to buy something or write a check. In each case, you're setting yourself up to become a victim of identity theft. In part 2 of our series, Randall Bennett shows us how to protect yourself.
Those type crimes are committed because someone is able to obtain your information, and it's available through a variety of ways.
Someone can grab your mail, steal your wallet, and spend your money. Identity thieves run up bills into the thousands of dollars all in your name. Being careful and following a few simple tips can help you avoid being a victim of identity theft.
Especially now, we need to be very diligent in the handling of our credit cards, of our checks, of that personal information.
Tip number 1, keep your information secure. If you receive a credit card application in the mail that you don't want, shred it. And instead of using your social security number at school offices, use your 88 number or your student ID number.
Any of the offices here for Weber State, they'll either ask for your social or your student ID. Get to know your student ID number and give that instead.
Don't put your social security number on your driver's license.
Check your credit report. Even if you're not planning on making a major purchase in the near future, checking your credit report can help you avoid problems with identity theft.
If you want to know what's been done in your name, run a credit report on yourself.
If you find something that you didn't do on your credit report, act quickly. Call the 3 major credit bureaus and ask that a fraud alert be placed on your record. This way no one can open any more accounts without your knowledge.
Make sure you do it as fast as possible. Get it done and taken care of.
I would check with your individual bank or credit union and find out what they're willing to do for you, because some are a lot better at dealing with this than others.
Sometimes your bank will file a police report. Other times you might need to do it yourself. Check with your bank for more information about identity theft. From the Ogden City Police Department, Randall Bennett, Weber State News.
Catching identity theft is the easiest way to avoid major problems. If you're not so lucky, visit the government's ID theft website at consumer.gov/ID theft.
Black History Month, a journalism expert, and a new edition of Campus Notes. Angie Burton joins us from the Sky Bridge to tell us more.
Thanks, Tamara. During the month of February, many displays such as this one, as well as activities
Is in the studio with us.
And he's joining us now for sports. Andrew, we hear that both basketball teams are pretty hot right now.
Yeah, they're pretty hot. They're unstoppable. The Wildcats are hot. How hot? Well, when they aren't just winning games, they're stacking up the awards. We'll have highlights, previews, and reviews. Coming up next, grab a cool drink and put up your feet. Weber State Sports is next.
Okay. I'm in the place.
Is there a Pacific shot you guys need?
We had an educational video.
Back a little ways because where you guys from?
This is there are times when you can't walk.
Ask you your name
Okay. David Litvack,
and how do you spell that?
Litvack.
And what is your title?
A state representative.
You ready? All right. Now you proposed the bill, the House Bill 85, correct? And what is that entitled?
It's the Hate Crimes Amendment, and what it is it creates an enhanced penalty when the trier of fact, such as a jury, would find beyond a reasonable doubt that someone was motivated by bias or prejudice against a particular group, such as race, religion. And it has to be the sole motivation for why they assault or attack an individual.
So they've tried this before. Why are we trying? Like, what's different about?
Well, there's a couple differences in the bill itself, but the reason why this has come up year after year is that in 1992, the original hate crimes bill passed. However, because of such vague language, this has never been used, and prosecutors and law enforcement can't touch it. And the 2001 Court of Appeals ruled it down. And so there's been a constant effort to try and improve it and create stronger language so that law enforcement and prosecutors have a tool that they can address this kind of criminal behavior in a appropriate way.
And specifically, what would be considered a hate crime? Like,
well, again, say for instance, if someone were to target me because I'm Jewish, and again, it has to be their primary motivation. So if they come to my house and they spray paint a swastika, and that's their motivation, the argument is that there's a greater consequence to that behavior because it doesn't just affect me, because it's not an attack on me, it's an attack on my identity, and so it's greater consequences on the Jewish community. When the Jewish Community Center was shot up in Los Angeles, there were ramifications across the United States. Up here at the Salt Lake City Jewish community, they started receiving death threats, threatening phone calls. They had to lock their doors. They had to be in lockdown. They had to be trained by the FBI. So the enhanced penalty addresses those types of behavior. If it's vandalism, it's just vandalism. But what this would do is if it's vandalism motivated by hatred, it would be an enhanced penalty.
and how likely is this bill to be passed?
Well, we've gotten further than we ever have on the House side. It's passed the Senate in previous years and always been stalled in the House. So we have a decent shot. Still a lot of work left to be done.
And what do you think that the students at Weber State should know, how they can get involved in this?
Well, if this is something that they believe in, then they can contact their state representative, whether that's the one that represents them at Weber State or in their home community, and let them know that this is something important. Again, for your particular population, I think it's important to realize that as we take a closer look at the statistics in Utah, which are well-founded that we have a consistent problem, what we found was that those 25 years old and younger are actually the #1 targets of hate crimes. And so it's something that directly affects a lot of college students.
And is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just would encourage them to get involved.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Carol Moss.
She did?
She's right out here.
Okay, one second.
Great.
Okay, first of all, if you'll say your first and last name and spell it out for me, and then also say your position.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm Lou Shurtliff, that's Loushurtliff, and I am a representative from District 10, which is Ogden.
Okay, great. Maybe just give me a little bit of information, if you can, in layman's terms, about the bill that is being looked at as far as to decrease the funding for higher education.
There's one big bill that comes out of the legislature, that is the appropriations bill. 2 weeks ago, we were asked to cut another 2% from the funding for higher education. That was from the base, which really would hurt the universities and the colleges. So we did that, and then there has been some money show up. So that will possibly be replaced. But my concern is it will not be given back where it was taken from. Some people are proposing that they make the decisions where to put that 2% back. And I think it should go back where it was taken from. So there is some controversy with that. It appears that there's an extra $2 million at this point that has been given to the budget. Now, what I'm telling you is very early in the process. A lot of that could change. Maybe there will be some extra money put in. Maybe that 2% will be put back where it was taken, which was from a little bit from each of the universities kind of thing. Hopefully there will be some extra funding for the nursing initiative, but right now we're not just sure. So I am not really content with where the funding is right now for the universities and the colleges, but we'll just keep working on it.
Now, you say that it would have a huge impact on the universities. What type of an impact?
Well, You know, if you cut, right now it's going to be personnel. You're possibly going to lose a teacher. You could possibly lose a program.
Policies on campus. They've been approached by students wanting the current smoking regulations enforced, as well as students who want to make Weber a smoke-free campus.
That the students need proof that we're doing something for them. We're trying to do something.
The problem is deciding what to do. Some senators believe smokers should be allowed in designated areas. Current policy states that there should be no smoking within 25 feet of a building. But ashtrays like this one indicate that the rules are not being followed. Instead of being 25 feet out there like they should be, they're within a few feet of the building.
Not staying 25 feet away from the building. They keep moving the ashtrays and ash cans up to the entrances.
Students with health risks and whatnot of secondhand smoke, they feel like smoking should be banned outright on campus.
The next step is the Senate's plan to take a straw poll of the faculty senate to see how they feel about the current smoking policy. But the smoking issue looks like it won't be snuffed out soon. Stephanie Olson, Weber State News. For some time now, Weber State has been accepting more students than they have parking stalls for. To overcome their parking problem, Weber operates a complimentary shuttle between the school and nearby D Event Center. I took the shuttle today and made it from the D Event Center to Weber State in about 15 minutes, but some students say it takes them a lot longer than that. Many of the students who choose not to park on campus feel riding the shuttle has its own difficulties.
It always seemed like there was a lot of room on the bus, except at about 8 o'clock in the morning when the buses were always packed.
Andy may have a good reason to complain. Shuttles seem to be overcrowded during peak hours, and students either stand or wait in lines long enough to fill the next two buses.
The bus lines were always, in the morning they were always long when everyone's just getting to school. And you'd usually have to wait outside in the cold for like half an hour standing in the bus line.
The shuttle service claims they can complete the route in about 15 minutes, but also recommends students like Andy give themselves some extra time.
They should give themselves probably 30 minutes. 30 minutes is a nice cushion.
Drivers have begun to operate an express bus that only stops a couple of times around campus. The service is helping, but with increased enrollment, the bus gets more and more full each year. In Ogden, Stephanie Olson, Weber State News.
Stephanie?
Randall, Angie, identity theft is a scary crime. It happened to Melanie Simpson. A thief stole her purse and ended up stealing her life.
I filled an application for taco maker for the manager position under my name. They just kind of went around everywhere, and people kept calling me and saying that I had done things, and when I hadn't.
They ruin your credit, bounce your checks, and even get a job in your name.
I took my driver's license, my checkbook, pretty much all my money, and all my IDs. I had my whole wallet stolen.
Melanie Simpson is just one of the many people who have suffered identity theft.
I've been an investigator in the Major Crimes Bureau since '91, and it's as high now as it's ever been.
The Ogden City Police Department sees more and more check fraud every day.
The most common thing we see are check forgeries, where one person takes another person's check and fills it out completely and passes it or alters what was on there originally.
When accepting checks, make sure to pay attention to whom you're accepting it from.
On my checks and everything, she spelled my name wrong. Places that she had gone to actually fill out the checks, she put on the wrong driver's license number. If people actually looked for the driver's license number and stuck to that, that would have helped so much.
People routinely leave their checkbooks in their car while the car is parked overnight or parked unattended. And as easy as it is to pass checks, that should never happen. Those things should be on you.
Like Willas said, knowing where your checkbook is can be the best bet defense against check fraud. Don't leave it unattended for any period of time. Next week, we'll show you what to do in case check fraud and identity theft happens to you.
Can you tell us what exactly happened to Melanie?
Well, the case was dropped, and they didn't ever find the person, so she could be out there somewhere.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Slipback is pushing for Hate Crime Bill 85 to be passed so that those committing hate crimes will finally be punished.
There's been a constant effort to try and improve it and create stronger language so that law enforcement and prosecutors have a tool that they can address this kind of criminal behavior.
This act modifies the criminal code by providing enhanced penalties due to bias or prejudice.
If you beat them up because they were black or gay or whatever, then you have not only committed a crime against that person, but you have terrorized a whole group of people.
It's critical.
Weber State held a briefing to inform students about the House Bill 85.
I think we all ought to know how to recognize hate incidents and be able to report those to the proper authorities.
In the briefing, they discussed and encouraged students to get involved.
Those 25 years old and younger are actually the #1 targets of hate crimes. And so it's something that directly affects a lot of college students.
Stop the Hate, a program at Weber State, helps students campaign against hate and hate crimes on campus.
This is just a way for us here on campus to be seriously active about hate and hate crimes.
Hate crimes doesn't have a specific targeted group. It could happen anywhere at any time. The most important thing is if you have a strong opinion about this, get involved. Stephanie Olson, Weber State News.
Well, you can never predict your day.
And every day was different for Julia Troyan.
Sometimes it's really slow, and sometimes you have absolutely no time for lunch.
A Weber State student working in a classroom. A bit out of the ordinary. Julia is an intern for the Utah State Legislature.
I work for 2 representatives. One of them is Don Bush of Clearfield, and the other one is Rebecca Lockhart of Provo.
She's not a political science major, just a student from a different world, learning about ours.
It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of input to get things done.
As an international student studying music and finance, found herself interested in American politics.
There's been a lot of financial issues that have piqued my interest, and that's why I chose to intern here.
And her interest has helped her not only to study politics, but to consider different career paths.
It has opened up a very, very broad variety of careers that I haven't thought about before.
At the state capitol, Stephanie Olson, Weber State News. The exploding sounds of Weber State's crowd filled the event center with excitement.
Oh, it's crazy. There's a lot of Weber State pride in there, and it's pretty exciting.
Dude, it's great. Like, the fans are going wild, everyone's crazy, and it's just tons of fun. You just got to get in the game.
It's exciting. It's electrifying.
Fans of all ages, big or small, gather together to cheer Weber on to victory.
Go Weber! Weber, let's win! Go Weber!
Let's go Weber State. Come on.
Go Weber!
Purple face painting, purple hair, purple pride are just a few things Weber's fans brought with them to show that they do believe.
They're awesome. I think they got a good shot. I think they're going to go to the big dance, the big tournament. Weber State's awesome. It's wild, it's fast, and Weber State rocks.
Go Weber, they're going all the way.
They are so good that they leave some fans speechless. Waldo the Wildcat led the crowd to their feet to show just who is #1.
Weber State's #1.
Weber State's #1. Weber is #1.
Stephanie Olson, Weber State News. Upward Bound is a federally funded program that allows students to learn while having fun.
It's so much fun because you get to learn so much, but in the same sense, you're having so much fun you don't really realize that you're learning.
Upward Bound assists low-income, first-generation students to complete high school and prepare for college.
We expect them to be college graduates down the road.
Many of our kids not only will be the first graduates from college in their family, but the first graduates from college and high school.
Upward Bound provides tutors, mentors, and volunteers to help out the students.
Every time that I need it and I call them, they're just there. If I didn't have Upward Bound, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now.
It's so rewarding to help them fulfill goals that they thought that they would never be able to do.
Each summer, the program plans an educational trip for the students.
I feel sad sometimes because I had an opportunity in another country that is not my country.
The students also get to experience college life by staying in WSU dorms and taking courses taught by professors.
It helps you socially and it teaches you tolerance for other people.
Not only are these students gaining experience and knowledge, they are also gaining friendships.
With Upward Bound, I get a branch out and to meet different people of different races and all that stuff.
I'm just really glad that I've found friends that aren't in my same clique.
I got to meet people too, like I never thought I was going to meet if I wasn't here.
Our future is great because of young people like these.
Stephanie Olson, Weber State News. I'm here inside the Browning Center, where there'll be a lot going on within the next few weeks. Get ready for a night of glamour, awards, and entertainment. Weber State's annual Crystal Crest Awards take place May 9th.
There is entertainment at the program. This year it's Michael Blackjack Wilson, who is an impressionist, and then there is a ball following the program here in the Union, where they will have a line of the award winners, and then there's dancing and refreshments.
Tickets are free for everyone and can be picked up at the information desk in the Student Union building. Something happening a little sooner is a guitar ensemble on April 21st at 7:30. And opera lovers can attend a workshop on the 25th at 7:30 in the Allred Theater. From April 30th to May 3rd, the theater department presents Bash, a play produced, directed, and performed all by WSU students. This play is for a mature audience only. For tickets and more information, call 1-800-WSU-TIKS. Students looking for a little extra cash are in luck. The bookstore begins its annual book buyback on April 30th.
I would suggest that early morning, we open at 7, or late in the afternoon are the best times where you don't have to spend a lot of time in line. Earlier in the week is better.
The bookstore recommends you come by before May 9th to get the best money for your books. That's all for Campus Notes. Back to you in the studio. Thanks, Angie and Tara. You don't have to look very far to find signs like this one advertising Weber State's award ceremonies for Crystal Crest. People will gather here at the Browning Center May 3rd in support of the award nominees.
This is who Weber State believes is the best, and other students coming, not only do they get to partake of the entertainment and the dancing and all that stuff that's free to them, but also it shows their support for the school.
WSU Student Activities has planned a full night of free entertainment in appreciation to the nominees' hard work.
It's basically an awards banquet to recognize students and faculty and staff and organizations here on campus that have done the most to help the school.
A banquet honoring nominees of 13 different categories is just the beginning.
There'll be the ceremony itself, where there'll be live entertainment. We've got an impressionist coming. We've got MCs that'll be hilarious.
The Impressionists will perform after the ceremony, followed by a ball.
Crystal Crest is known to be the most formal of the events. You know, it's semi-formal. People wear suits and ties.
Everyone is invited to attend this semi-formal event.
Literally, this will be by far the best event put on by Weber State this year.
Don't forget to pick up your tickets beforehand at the Student Activity Center or at the information booth in the Union Building. From the Browning Center, Stephanie Olson, Weber State News.
You have to rebuild your community. You have to keep injecting new life and new ideas.
Ogden City hopes piles of rubble can transform the look of downtown.
The redevelopment of the mall site will be a real economic engine.
The Ogden City Mall was torn down last year after remaining empty for several months. Two major development companies submitted proposals to the City Council this week to share their ideas on how to help this area.
We would envision the project here really being the centerpiece of Ogden.
This pile of rubble right behind me was once the heart of downtown Ogden. City officials believe they can make that heart beat once more.
The heart of the downtown, right 24th and Washington, is in retail sense the ground zero.
To create a draw for downtown, it'll be unlike any other mall around.
Ogden is hoping to create a facility much like the Gateway in Salt Lake, but with the local twist.
We wouldn't try to compete directly with the Newgate Mall. I think the tenant mix would be completely different.
We're actually very excited about it. We're very encouraged by the redevelopment of downtown Ogden.
And everyone involved wants to make downtown a place different from anything Ogden has ever seen before.
Customers are looking for something different, a different experience.
A place to gather and to watch unique experiences and entertainment, and not just about having t-shirts on sale.
For the first time ever, there are more spring semester students than fall. I'm Stephanie Olson. As Chad mentioned, non-traditional students are to thank for most of the increased enrollment. Non-traditional students have unique demands. Tiffany Madison tells us about a program that meets those demands. Coming up next on Weber State News, from Broadway to ragtime, Black History Month celebrates African Americans' contribution to music and the stage. Stay with us. Weber State News will be right back. Catching identity theft is the easiest way to avoid major problems. If you're not so lucky, visit the government's ID theft website at consumer.gov/ID theft. We'll tell you more next on Weber State News. Melting snow is revealing an old problem with the main staircase at the Stewart Library. Good evening, I'm Stephanie Olson. Clock is ticking for the state legislature, and many issues are still up in the air. Legislature has until midnight Wednesday to finish its work. Books at the Weber State don't have to cost an arm and a leg. Stay with us. Weber State News will be right back. Strutting and getting in the groove. Purple Pride invades Weber campus as the men's and women's Big Sky tournament tips off at the D. Good evening, I'm Stephanie Olson. That's right, after award spring enrollment, Weber State student body may be getting even larger, thanks to an enrollment cap at the U. They've got purple passion, they're bleeding purple. Men's basketball team tipped off the first week of the tournament play. Women brought home the Big Sky. While team is practicing, the fans are getting purple. Everyone is excited about the Wildcats. The D Event Center ticket office is on the front line of the madness. Big Sky tickets are still available. Don't wait until the last minute to get yours. The ticket office has had a steady stream of fans since last week. People have been standing in line, calling and waiting all week for men's and women's basketball tickets. The ticket office stopped taking phone calls on Tuesday, so if you have to get your tickets, get it in person at the D. Luke Brown is in the studio today. It's a great time to be a fan at Weber State. Weber State News starts now. Welcome to Weber State News. I'm Stephanie Olson. WSU students are doing their part to support the troops at home. Members of the student government handed out flyers at the bell tower Wednesday. The flyers informed students of the different ways they can support U.S. troops. The students can show their support by sending emails to the troops alumni website and attending special rally at the bell tower next week. WSU students government also tied yellow ribbons across campus and encouraged students to do the same. Many departments here on campus are benefiting from contributions made by individuals to gift accounts. These donations are especially important to Weber State, as well as other colleges in Utah, since most of the schools have had budget cuts. The money in these gift accounts and scholarships will be awarded to eligible students who are currently enrolled at Weber State. A powwow dance is happening at Weber, along with other things. Tiffany Madison tells us more in this week's Campus Notes. Thanks, Tiffany.
I've only played a couple of times, but I have to say, I could get you.
All right, you're probably right.
I could take you both on.
You're probably right, yeah.
Weber State News will be right back. They say art imitates life. If that's the case, high school students in Davis County must get along pretty well with their teachers. This month, the school district will sponsor a special art show featuring the work of the high school seniors and their teachers. The exhibit held at Bountiful Arts Center shows the beauty of art regardless of its creator's age or experience. The student-teacher exhibit opens the 4th of April and runs through the end of the month. So it's been a great week here at Weber State, a lot going on. Next week, we'll have the results for the elections. That should be really good.
That's right. We wish everyone the best of luck. They'll be announcing, of course, the new president. We had them in the studio this week, and also the academic and executive vice presidents, as well as the senators. So good luck to them.
Very good. Thanks for joining us on Weber State News. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. And the egg extravaganza started at Weber State. Find out how you could save some money and get in on the egg excitement.
Weber State News.
Yellow shirts dotted the lawn of the state capitol over the weekend in effort to support U.S. military forces in Iraq. Good evening and welcome to Weber State News. I'm Stephanie Olson. Speaking of cute and adorable, Andrew Larson joins us in the studio for sports.
Oh, stop. Well, it's fun for kids and adults, and it's free. What more do you want?
I think I'll gather up my nieces and nephews and have them come along with me because it sounds like something I would like to do.
Should be fun.
A night of fame, glamour, and excitement is coming to Weber State with the Crystal Crest Awards. We'll tell you more. I'm Stephanie Olson here at the State Capitol building. Lawmakers are trying to legislate exactly what hate crime is. We have the story for you. I'm Stephanie Olson. I'll tell you how rocks just like this one are clearing the way to make big changes in downtown Ogden. I'll have the story for you next on Weber State News.
I mean, we've got MCs that'll be hilarious.
The Impressionists will perform after the ceremony, followed by a ball.
Crystal Crest is known to be the most formal of the events. You know, it's semi-formal. People wear suits and ties.
Everyone is invited to attend this semi-formal event.
Literally, this will be by far the